This Week in Green. When it comes to saving the planet, it turns out that you, yes, you, can make a difference. In recent years, the green community has often downplayed the individual actions to fight climate change and placed most of the responsibility on technology, corporations, and governmental policy. While those areas are still very important, the latest Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report, or IPCC report, states that our personal actions can reduce emissions up to 70%. It boils down to our demand for services. What do we want, and what do we ask for? As consumers, we dictate how things are built in architecture, and how we heat or cool our living spaces, how we travel, and what stuff we buy. This self-reflective mentality has been nicknamed the 1.5-degree lifestyle by author Lloyd Alter, and it focuses on personal sufficiency over efficiency. The IPCC report states that by 2050, comprehensive demand-side strategies across all sectors could reduce CO2 and non-CO2 greenhouse gas emissions globally by 40 to 70%. And this new strategy focuses on an avoid, shift, improve model where individuals can acknowledge varying degrees of their carbon emission contributions. It's worth noting that the top 10% of the population are responsible for half the carbon emissions, while the bottom 50% contribute just 15%. So, even as you roll up your sleeves and help the planet improve, you can rest easy knowing that this whole thing is still the rich people's fault, and that throwing a flaming bag of poo is only appropriate, despite the added carbon emissions that such an action might cause.
Those doggone Richies.
Oh, Richie Rich.
Richie Rich.
Richie Rich and all of his rich friends at the Rich Palace up in the hills.
I gotta tell you, we grew up in a time where we had shows like Silver Spoons and Richie Rich, and they made you think that the rich people were great, and they were doing great things.
Completely. It's such a different world now than it was. When we were kids, it was something aspirational.
Yeah, you're like,
you want to be rich.
I want to be rich when I grow up.
You should do the things you have to do so you can be rich. Anybody can be this rich.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I could be that rich. And then you grow up and you're like, it's hard. It's really hard to be that rich.
It's really hard to be that rich.
There's a lot of people who don't want me to be this rich. They're telling me to be rich, and then they're doing what they can to stop me from being rich.
And then it's
like everywhere I turn.
The ones that make it become the worst people. I mean, of course,
not everyone. I'm not talking about you, Aunt Gertrude and Matilda.
You're doing great. I'm just saying the people who are in that top 1%, those billionaires that get close to half to $1 trillion.
The ones who can just decide that they're going to go to space.
Yeah, the ones who just go like, you know what? I don't know if Earth is going to work out for me, so I'm going to build a rocket and go up. And those people are not the Richie Rich that I grew up with.
It's you know what it is? The disparity, and I think this is why that joke hopefully speaks to some people. Is that the difference now? I feel like is worse than when we were kids.
Yes.
Like I felt like you look at the aspirational thing of I want to be as rich as Silver Spoons or Richie Rich, and it's like, yeah, he had a train in his house, but it wasn't like a huge train, and it was basically a model train, and the house was big, but it wasn't the same.
Yes.
It wasn't the same.
You're
it wasn't
right.
like you could get an entire country to disassemble a bridge
just to move
that has cultural and historical significance, just so you can move your $1 trillion yacht
right through the middle
across the canal. I mean, it's a little different.
Yeah.
It's the disparity seems greater. So I think that these days it definitely is more of an FU feeling towards rich people, which I can relate to some degree.
Yeah, I mean, we all want to be successful, and it's just that even Scrooge McDuck had a heart. You know what I mean?
Wow, if they were like Scrooge McDuck, we'd be cool.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you can swim in your piles of money, but just do great things and have great nephews. That's all I'm saying.
Have great nephews. Well, yeah, share.
Share for Pete's sake. You have enough. You have more than enough. Just help distribute the wealth.
And that has been the liberal lefty moment on This Week in Green. If any of you thought that we weren't left enough, there's your peek into some. But no, I mean it's actually kind of a fascinating topic, right? Because it is true that we sort of look at the problem as a corporate problem. Yeah. As a rich people problem, as a problem of the people who are consuming the most. And you know what? To some degree, it's true. But I think it's a nice acknowledgement that we all can make a difference. And that this doesn't mean you don't keep putting pressure on regulation and you don't keep fighting the good fight to try to get people to be cleaner and to be greener and to force a little bit more regulation on some of these companies that are causing some of the pollution problems.
Yeah.
It just means that you can't agree with the concept that so often gets put out that it has nothing to do with what you do personally.
Yeah.
Because that's not true.
It's
not true. The very report that is pointed at over and over and over again as the reason to fight climate change, which is this IPCC report, is telling you that 70% of the problem gets solved by our individual action and what we choose.
Yeah.
So keep at it.
Keep at it.
Keep at it. Try hard. Believe that what you're doing makes a difference and that compounding all together, we can do something about it. And that doesn't mean give up the good fight.
Amen.
We'll have more for you soon.